Hi, and welcome back to this week's Parsha share on Sefer Tal Chermon. This week's Parsha of Vayechi, Yosef clearly takes a central role here in guiding the family through this stage of life and bringing Ephraim and Menashe for their brachos to Yaakov, and also stands out in terms of the bracha that he receives from Yaakov, and then in the end of the Parsha, bringing the family together and trying to reconcile with his brothers in a very prominent fashion. Rav Aviner addresses himself to many of the characteristics of Yosef, and one in particular, Yosef, who is the nation builder. Yosef is the cosmopolitan brother, the brother who goes out into the world and who accomplishes things. Yosef is the mashpir, he's the provider, he's the Mishnah Lamelech. He's so involved in the physical world, as Rav Aviner has spoken about many times before. But really, what you see in the totality of the character of Yosef is this incredible balance between the physical and the spiritual. He's someone who excels in the physical realm. He's the mashpir, the Mishnah Lamelech. He's out there in the world building, but also he's Yosef Hatzadik. He's the person who's able to withstand the enticements of Eshet Potiphar. He's the person who always sticks to the right pathway in terms of his observance of his family's traditions and of the spiritual nature of his life. He is the perfect combination of the spiritual and the physical, even if the physical sometimes takes on more of a presence in terms of his characteristics or his involvements or his activities in life. And that's perhaps one of the things that the brothers had criticized him for earlier. Still, in the end of the day, even if that's the salient feature of who he is, deep down inside, in terms of the balance of values, both are critically entwined, the physical and the spiritual in the proper balance. That well-balanced approach to life between the physical and the spiritual is in some ways what enables Yosef to be so successful out there in the world, to be so strong at maintaining his identity out there in the world. And Rav Aviner points to two very interesting ways in which that trickles down to the other relationships of his life, to his relationship with his wife and to his children. He says, Osnat Eshet Yosef Mehechan Hiba. Who is this Osnat Potifera Kohen On? How do we know who the wife of Yosef is? So Chazal explained in the Yalkut Shimoni, Medrash Yalkut Shimoni, she'asnan hi bita shel Dina, she'nodala mishchem ben Chamor asher anasa. The Dina and Shechem, in their illicit relationship, as she's forced into that relationship with Shechem, gives birth to a daughter whose name is Osnat. And that's the Osnat that Yosef ends up marrying. Kenira, he says, Rav Aviner says, it seems, it wasn't so good for her after all that had transpired in the home between her father Shechem and Dinah to remain in her home. She was sent to Egypt to get away from her home dwelling place and the shame of everything that had occurred and how the brothers ended up attacking Shechem. But she goes down to Egypt and she's adopted by Eshet Potiphar, Shahaita Akara, who couldn't have children. Zo ra'ata b'tztagninut shela shehi sheyachet liyosef, ulam hitata lohi elabita. V'Yosef noseh labat paro et bito shel Shechem leisha. The Eshet Potiphar has a premonition based on the astrology that she has some connection to Yosef. The mistake she made is that she thought she was going to be married to Yosef, but really what she was seeing is that her daughter, her adopted daughter, Osnat, really the daughter of Dinah and Shechem, would be the one who was supposed to marry Yosef. If you think back now to the roots of Osnat, the wife of Yosef, her roots in Shechem, you realize that the whole incident of Shechem was a nisayon. It was an enterprise. It was a test. It was an attempt to try to come close to the Jewish people. Shechem b'chol anshe iro. They were willing to circumcise themselves. They were willing to do whatever it took to come close and be part of the Jewish people. But this attempt was pushed off. It was thwarted because Shechem and all the people of the city were killed. Because the way to come close to the Jewish people is not through a disgusting incident of rape, but through something much more positive and much more holy. Loza hutzura lishtadech. That's not the way to create a shidduch between non-Jews and the Jewish people. We welcome the relationship with non-Jews. There's an appropriate way to be able to become part of the Jewish people, and that's through holiness and through appropriate moral behavior, not through something as disgusting and as lowly as this. Ulam be'ofen ekroni, but at its core, einenu sholalim haklala We don't abhor, we don't reject the possibility that non-Jews can come into our midst to be part of our land, to be part of our society and our relationship and even our family. Under certain conditions and when appropriate with the proper preparation and behavior. Even for the 7 nations of the land of Canaan, who we learn in the Torah is lo techayeh kol neshama, it's milchemet zayin amamin, it's the total eradication of those people. That's the command to the Jewish people when they enter the land. We still see, most from Lanu Chazal explained to us that Yehoshua sent different letters to the population of Israel, giving them the possibility before the war occurred to actually enter the midst of Jewish people, to join the Jewish people in certain ways. So even in the most extreme case of the Zayin Amamin, nations of the world that we're supposed to have nothing to do with, even there's a possibility for them to enter into our midst with the right channels and the right appropriate behavior. So certainly in terms of the general population, we have that possibility open to us. The Shechem attempt was just an inappropriate attempt that didn't go through the right channels, and therefore it's abhorred, it's pushed away, it's thwarted. But what we do see here is fascinating. Amnam hu nidcha, aval hanitzos lo avad. The attempt of Shechem was thwarted, but the nitzotz, the spark of it, was not thwarted. It was saved for another time. It was never lost. Shechem mitztaref la'am Yisrael, derech bita osnat. Shechem eventually does become part of the Jewish people, not in the direct matter with Dinah that he had hoped, but later on, through the marriage of his daughter, Osnat, to Yosef. Yosef zacha bechalko shel Shechem, which now makes sense why Yosef gets the territory of Shechem in the land of Israel, as the bracha says in our Parshat, Va'anochi natati lecha Shechem echad al achecha shelakachta miyana emori b'charbi v'kashti, that I'm giving to you this space of Shechem, this place of Shechem, as an extra portion over all of your brothers. Yosef has a connection to Shechem, even explicitly in the Parsha, but now we understand that connection to Shechem better. He has a connection to Shechem, not just because he's randomly given that territory of land as an extra portion, but because through his marriage to Osnat, he becomes the channel in which Shechem, instead of in the inappropriate way of the history with Dinah, in a now appropriate way, is able to enter and to have a hiskarvos, a closeness with the Jewish people. Rav Aviner concludes that the whole reason why this is able to happen to Yosef, why Yosef is the entry point for Shechem, for an outsider, for someone from the non-Jewish world, for the broader world to enter our midst, is Davka because of Yosef's character. Madua Davka Yosef. Yosef yesh koach hitmodedut im olam hagoyim. He says, Yosef has the capacity to properly deal with the outside world. He's well grounded enough in his own being that he makes him successful in the outside world, and therefore he's able to have contact without it threatening his existence. Hu shayach umeshutaf lahem b'kisharon shel binyan ha'olam. He's relatable to them. He's a part of that world in terms of building. Umitoch havaya meshutefet zon, because of that mutuality, hu zeh shemesugal lahavinam. He can understand them best. Liklot v'livror mitocham et yesodot hatarbutiyim achiyuvim shebahem, to absorb all the positive natures and positive aspects of their culture, ulahachnis et hatamtzid hameira shebahem latoch otzar am Yisrael, and to grab the lights that are shining in their midst and to now include them in the fabric, weave them into the fabric and the culture of Am Yisrael in a beautiful way. It's only because of Yosef's character, in being a part of that world, understanding that world, being discerning in that world, and being so grounded in himself that he's able to be the entry point for that and properly absorb, like he absorbs his wife in this particular case. Not only does this lesson apply and it's materialized in terms of his wife, but also in terms of his children. Tzad hadimyon hazeh shel Yosef la'olam hagoyim ma'orer chashdot. There are certain concerns that a person might have looking at Yosef's involvement in the broader world. Kasher Yosef maybe at banav lifnei aviv kedeshi yivarchem lifnei moto. For example, when Yosef brings his two sons before Yaakov dies, shoel oto Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov asks them, Mi Eila, who are these people? Lechora she'ela zo meshuna me'od. This is a very strange question. He knows who they are. Hayim ad hayom b'meshach 17 shanot Shnot Shehuto b'Mitzrayim lo hispik Yaakov l'hakir nachdav. For 17 years of residing in Egypt, knowing his grandchildren, he doesn't recognize them? Of course he does. Elo sheshal she'ela zoni shala b'muvan ruchani. He's asking not in a physical manner, who are these children, but spiritually, who are they? Ephraim and Menashe mofim kivnei amalachim hamitzrim. They look Egyptians. They come looking like the children of an Egyptian king. Bilavush zar, im tarbut zar, with weird clothing and strange culture, a culture that's not our own, says Yaakov. He looks at them, mi'ela. Ha'sheila ha'im hem shayachim b'nafsham litarbut ha'Yisraelit. He looks at them as foreigners, and he says, who are these people? Are their neshamas connected to our culture, to our being, to our Masorah, to our family? Haim hem tahorim or shema nitmu betumat Mitzrayim ruchanit v'agufanit. Are they pure, or have they been defiled by the culture and the impurities of Egypt in the physical realm? Mi'ela, who are these? Ma'i tudat hazahut hapnimit shelahem. What's the internal identity card of these boys? Haim hem Mitzrayim or Yisraelim? Are they Jews or are they Egyptians? Barur Yaakov she Yosef hu tzaddik. It's clear to Yaakov that Yosef is a tzaddik. He's totally devoted in the religious realm, which is why the pasuk says, "Vayishtachu Yisrael Rosh Hamita al shahaita mitato shlema v'lo haya barasha shari Yosef melech haya v'od shenishba lebin hagoyim v'harei omed b'tzidko." As Rashi quotes on the pasuk, the reason why Yaakov stands up, the reason Yaakov bows in front of Yosef is because he's comforted by the fact that every one of his children stayed on the path that he had set out for them. Even Yosef, who's involved in the world, Omed B'tzidko, he still stood in his righteousness. That was clear to Yaakov. Ulam, however, Legabe Banav Yesh Pipukim v'chashtot. He says, according to him, Yaakov understood Yosef was a tzaddik. Yaakov withstood all the pressures of the environment. He put himself out there in the world, all the influences of foreign cultures and foreign religions. But he still had concerns about Yosef's children. Would Yosef's children have the same kind of strength of identity? Were they Egyptians or were they Jews at their core? Yosef responds after Yaakov says, Mi'ela, who are these at their core? Yosef responds, Banaihem, asher natan li Elokim bazeh. They are my children that God gave me in this land. What he's really saying is, Hakol b'seder, everything is okay. Hem habanim shali, they're my children. Hem chamushim bekochi, they're armed with my strength of character, my balance of the physical and the spiritual, my ability to go out there in the world and stay strong, stay Yosef Atzadik, despite my involvement in the building of the broader world and cultures and religions. I'm able to be Yosef Atzadik and Banaihem. They're exactly the same. They're my children. They are me. Yosef Mesugal Lechiyut. Lichiot b'kerev hagoyim, lihidamot lahem v'lemod mehem. Yosef is capable of living in the Gentile world. He's capable of being like them and learning from them. V'im zeh lihishaer b'tzidko, and still to remain righteous. Hamoderniut shelo hi hachitzoniut bilvad. The modernity of Yosef is simply in externals, simply in the things that are part of life but not part of the core of a being. Hu nishar orthodoxy. He remains totally devoted to his faith. Hapanim nishar b'tarato, hapnim nishar b'tarato, v'hu mitchazek umitatzem od al yidei hosafat ha'yisodot ha'chiyuvim shel tarbut hagoyim u'mechlulalim bo b'kocho shel Yosef. He stays strong in his identity and his purity and who he is, and then he becomes even stronger, even more capable, even richer, not in terms of physical, but richer in terms of his culture and his knowledge and his understanding, by incorporating more and more and more stuff from out there in the world. But at his core, he's strong, which is what enables him to do that and remain himself. So these are the strengths of Yosef, as we've learned all along. And Rav Aviner is pointing out that both his wife was able to be incorporated now into his life because of who he is. Maybe another one of the brothers would not have been able to incorporate Shechem's daughter into the family again, to take that world of Shechem, which represents the worst of the outside world, and find a way to incorporate it in a safe way that's not threatening to our very existence. Maybe the other brothers couldn't do that. Yosef Hatzadik was able to, because he was the balance of the physical and the spiritual. He was the balance of out there in the world and taking everything from the culture that we can and contributing what we can, but remaining true to who we are. And therefore, Yosef is also the one to be able to raise kids in Egypt, to be able to raise Menashe and Ephraim, who look and act and speak like B'nai Melech Mitzrayim, like the children of the kings of Egypt. And so much so that it concerns even Yaakov. Mi'ela, who are these? But Yosef convinces him, Banaihem, they're my children. Just like I charted this path, they have charted this path. And perhaps it is only Yosef who was so well trained in that, who was such an expert in that, who was capable of raising children like Ephraim and Manasseh, not children who were totally immersed in the culture of Egypt, not children who were totally sequestered in Goshen, but children who were the best combination of both. Much for us to think about as modern Orthodox Jews, about the nature of our involvement in society and the cues that we can take from Yosef HaTzadik about how to build up our own strength and our own character and our own identity to be totally loyal and totally devoted to the Masorah, to the heritage that is uniquely ours. And from that vantage point, to be able to go out safely into the world and have wonderful contact with the outside world, the physical world, the non-Jewish world, and use and take and contribute and give to the max, to the point where we truly understand who we are and how we can benefit the world and benefit from the world all at the very same time. Shabbat Shalom.